Teaching the clarinet embouchure can be kind of a confusing thing sometimes. A lot of band directors say that it's very much like the saxophone, but in actuality, it's very different. And the differences come from the pressure points that we place on the embouchure. So I want to talk a little bit about how to form an embouchure, what does it look like, and how do we teach it. So first of all, we want to think of the clarinet embouchure as being an inverted whistle. So we're going to roll the bottom lip over slightly, the bottom teeth. And this is going to depend on the student. Some students have thicker lips than others, so you're going to have to find the sweet spot by working with the student. All right? Next, teeth are on top of the mouthpiece. Corners come in and down like a frown, so we don't want to pull back tight like this. You'll see some of the old-timey embouchures in the Closet book, for example, of Simeon Bellison, and his embouchure is pulled back. But now we look for more of an in and down warm embouchure, so we're trying to bring everything there, right? And the chin is pulled down nice and flat. Now, the pressure is what is very different from saxophone, where saxophone has equal pressure all the way around. With clarinet, we want the most pressure on the top lip. And even if you'll tell your young students to make their top lip come down, you'll notice that they will naturally form a flat chin. So it's a great way to discuss with them that idea of trying to keep that chin pulled down. It doesn't mean it's easy when they first start to play that way, but they'll be aware of the motion. And the reason that's so important is because it helps to keep space in the jaw. Clenching the jaw is where we end up cutting off the sound, especially as we have young students start to play toward the upper clarion and the altissimo register, the upper register of the clarinet. So very importantly, we're trying to keep that pressure on top, corners, and then down, so keeping everything right where it needs to be there. The next thing happens inside the clarinet, and this is something too where clarinet is different from the other instruments in the band. We play with a different voicing or tongue position, so our oral cavity changes as we play clarinet. And there are 3 words I want you to remember for this. The lowest register of the clarinet thinks the word ha, with the tongue low in the mouth. When we get to about C, just below the staff, ha changes to he, and if you'll have your students say he, they'll feel the back part of their tongue with the molars in back, where the tongue is arched high in back and then comes slightly forward. Now, this is one that a lot of people don't know. When you get to about G above the staff, he changes again, and now it becomes Hugh. So he, Hugh. Hugh puts a little U in the sound. And what all of this does is to help focus the air in the proper way to get the reed to vibrate the frequency it needs to get these certain registers out with their best sound and best intonation. So you'll find if you'll do that, especially up into the upper register with that Hugh, that the normally bright, chickeny kind of sound of the altissimo becomes warmer and darker. So here's a great exercise you can use to work on this. I call them register slurs. And I'm simply going to play a low A, then I'm going to add the register key in back, which makes it an E, and then I'm going to take the first finger off to make it a high C sharp. And with each one of these, as I have my students play them, I'm going to have them think ha, he, Hugh as they play. If they do these religiously and slowly with the tuner each day, and you can work your way up chromatically up the clarinet, it not only teaches them the muscle memory of the voicing, but it helps to work on the embouchure and build the muscles of the embouchure as well. So long tones, register slurs, and a good focus on reminding them to keep that pressure down on the top lip, keeping space in the jaw, and a beautiful sound will be in the future.